It's time to leave your cinematic troubles behind. Let the takes flow through you. And let the noise from the zeitgeist subside. Welcome to Cast Against Time.
Welcome!
I'm up now.
To Cast Against Type.
Season 2.
We have returned.
You've missed us, we know.
You've demanded it. You've screamed into the foment of the universe.
I can't tell you how many times I get stopped on the street asking when we're coming back. It happens a lot.
Desperation is piquant in any interaction that we have with our multitude of fans.
And so we decided, you know what? We should do it. We should come back.
We weren't going to either. We said, we went out on top.
We were like Flight in the Conchords. We did that one season. We put our heart and soul into it, and then
there was just such a demand,
yes.
Especially after our Running Man episode. Demand has never been higher. Where have you been, Mr. Frank? Mr. Frank departed the show on absolute dramatic terms. He said, I've got better deals to make.
Said I need more money, and then he played hardball, and then we renegotiated, and I'm back.
I played hard on your balls. No, we had to take a bit of a break. Life things happened.
They do.
As they are wont to do. We can't control them. But since we've left you, we are now in a uber-nationalist fascist state.
Mm-hmm.
That's not going to get any better. But we're still, at this moment, able to speak freely into a microphone and produce content that nobody needed.
As of now.
And
that could change.
It's also difficult when we are the only film podcast.
That's why demand was so high.
To leave such a vast media landscape vacuum is bad for society.
It's negligent.
It's irresponsible not to create more cinematic content. I say more, really the only cinematic content, especially in the pod space. Even though we're not a pod, we're an internet radio program. All of this has been established in season 1.
Mm-hmm.
Go back and listen to it. It's tremendous. But now we're back and we've got to figure out how to move forward in our current media landscape, such as it is, because frankly, things have changed since last we were podding, since last we were a poddin'. We're still going to continue to imbibe while we record because that's how much we respect you.
But we've upped the ante in a way.
We're kind of changing the format up a little bit. We'll get to that in a little bit. But first of all, Matt, I just want to say, I guess we're all still in a period of celebration as well. And this news.
What are we celebrating?
This news is about a week or two old now, but
no,
it's just been a really hard time for all of the media companies out there, especially the companies with the big guns.
The Vespros?
Well, yes, you nailed it. One of the hardest hit companies, one of the companies that's been struggling the most is dear old Warner Bros. They've been struggling, and bless them. They're such an underdog. We've been rooting for them. We're rooting for them to pull themselves up by their bootstraps,
by their vest straps,
by their vest zippers. And you know what? I'm excited to announce that even though they are absolutely in economic freefall, they managed to secure an executive bonus for their dear leader, captain, writer of the ship, to the tune of something around $54 million.
Did he get another bonus?
Yeah. So I just, I just want to congratulate.
This is news to me, so keep going while I look up this number,
David, because it couldn't have happened to a better guy. Couldn't have happened to a better company.
Pay rises 4% to $52 million.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I you know what? God, I overshot by $2 million. God, well, that's some real austerity. So I was wrong. It is still dire times. So, and that comes on the heels of canceling everybody's favorite shows, movies, podcasts, record
limiting
deals,
releases to like one movie or two movies a year,
franchises, undercutting.
Well, he has to be at the Knicks courtside seats all the time now.
Thousands of jobs. Foisting
but
AI
go see Sinners, which I heard is actually pretty good.
Upon us. Apparently they're going to do Beetlejuice.
No, they're not.
Oh boy, have you got some headlines in store for you.
There's no way Michael Keaton does that. I mean, I guess there was no way he did the first one, but he did it.
I mean, I mean,
It's imminently in works, according to Warner Brothers. Jesus Christ.
So we're celebrating today. Okay, it's a celebration. It is a celebration.
Why'd you do this to me?
Listen, they were in free fall, but you know what?
No more parachutes!
But you know what? They're back. They're back, baby.
Wow, we did it.
And the Helmer, the writer of the ship, is finally being compensated what he's worth. And frankly, in this society, we needed heroes like that to emerge and to show us that uber capitalism can work for the little guy. So, and on the cherry on top is this pod. The pod is back. We couldn't afford to make whiskey sours because we like egg whites in our whiskey sours. So we are just doing the poor man's version today. But you know what? That's okay. It's okay. Look at me. I'm doing fucking egg content. This is just some late night bullshit. I'm sorry.
I thought you were gonna say we couldn't have eggs because of inflation and go into something like that.
That was the underlying joke. Yeah, thank you for spelling it out.
I mean, we are drinking pretty good Kirkland whiskey here.
We are a Kirkland signature brand pod.
We drink their whiskey.
You can find us.
We're going to start doing live shows at Costco's around the nation.
Yeah. Speaking of the little bitches that decimated our TikTok, the
Rizzler?
The Rizzler's like doing like late night shit now.
Yeah.
What are they even? Are they selling something? I mean, I'm sure now they've got.
They're just an
deals.
aura. They're a vibe, I guess. What they would say.
That is chuggy. Straight up chuggy. I learned that word over the break.
See, the break was good in a lot of ways.
See, these are your cringeworthy words, kids. I'm living in your world.
I feel like using chuggy is now chuggy.
Well, exactly. So it's a fucking catch-22, isn't it?
Yeah. So like there needs to be a new term for somebody who uses chuggy as a term.
Glizzbop.
Okay, we're gonna use glizzbop from now on.
All right, that's some glizz. That's some glizz.
You're glizzing out right now. All right.
But speaking of the tickings and the talkings, that leads us right into our first segment. The first segment of the show. What show?
You might ask.
And I might respond. Castigan's Time. A show where we examine the pathology of the mob as it pertains to the world of cinema, where we look across the filmic discourse and attempt to restore some sanity. We do this in one of two different ways now. One, by unpacking the ideas and assertions we stumble across out there in the media, be it social or otherwise, and by occasionally subjecting ourselves to mysterious media oddities. And two, by spinning the Reel of Scopophilia.
Ooh, tell us more.
Where we let fate decide on a series of film-related exercises that are in no way a meaningless or desperate grab for content at all.
Mm-mm.
We're changing it up. We're changing the format up a little bit. We realized that the people that were submitting questions are slurs, so we don't need them anymore. No. We're very grateful to everyone who participated in the show.
Yes,
we got
please
a lot
participate more.
And yes, we still want your participation, but we also kind of got a lot of questions steering us towards things like, hey, I think that Gambit is the best Marvel cinematic.
Well, we all know you love
guy.
franchise talk.
So it's not that we don't appreciate the feedback and the submissions. We really want them still. We would love for you to participate. Send us your queries, queens, slay.
Kings, legends,
be legends, and,
chiefs,
and send us your chiefly.
You don't like it. Chief is a canceled
cinematic
term now, right?
How?
Well, you don't like being called chief.
Well, I don't like being called chief because it's usually some 15-year-old that just fucking started the job yesterday and thinks he's being fucking cool. And you know what?
Would it be better if someone older than you called you chief?
I mean, it depends on how much older. If somebody my age, I still don't like it. But if it's like, if it's like a 70-year-old, go for it, dude. I can live with that. So yeah, we it's not that we don't appreciate submissions. They were great. We want them still. We're here for you. But yeah, some of that stuff was steering us towards franchisey content, pop culture. And it's not that we're not going to talk about that shit. In fact, today,
spread it out. I was going to say we're going straight into that.
We're just diving right in. But it's we want to leave the door open for something with brains inside, and that's not to suggest that we haven't received any smart queries or God, I'm really fucking dumping on our
We want
listenership.
people to listen and
No,
be
but
on the show.
It's just sometimes when submissions are light, we are left with the option to talk about like franchise shit.
Fodder.
So we are going to take the wheel ourselves. We're kind of going to merge your submissions into part of our new game. So our first segment is still going to be a segment where we unpack some things that we've stumbled across out there in the media. But our second segment is now sort of a game. It's called the Reel of Scopophilia, which means for the unenlightened among you, which is 90%. No, I'm sorry.
Dummies.
I kid. Scopophilia means the enjoyment of the act of looking or watching.
Looking perverts.
And the reel of Scopophilia is basically a wheel like you would see on a game show where we're going to spin amongst a variety of different filmic-related exercises.
What are those exercises?
Okay, well, the first one is called How Will This Age?
I don't know what that is.
That is a segment where we have banked a bunch of topics that are related to the movies, and we will literally ask ourselves of these topics, how will this age? So it could be something like popcorn buckets, could be 4DX at the movie theater, but it's not all theater related. Like what's like a filmic trend like amongst the teens, the youth? Like okay, how will dystopic young adult films age?
9/11 films,
Divergent,
like kind of
9/11 adjacent films. How will that age? Shit like that. So that it's kind of a wide range of topics that we've banked a few. So when we land on that, we'll be ready. Our second game on the wheel is called You Cannot Spell Nostalgia Without Satan, or simply Remember This.
remember that.
And that's basically a game where we remember a thing about the movies that is long since begotten. We'll see how that goes. The third exercise on our wheel is simply a mailbag, and that's where we will acknowledge your submissions and questions and queries.
Please send them in.
Send them. The fourth exercise on our wheel is called the bargain bin.
I like this one.
Now, I like this one too, although it's a bit time intensive, because if we land on it, we have a series of films that we've collected over the years. I used to be a real big physical media person. I still appreciate physical media. I don't collect as much, but there used to be a phenomenon where, your big box store, your Target, your Walmart, heaven forbid your Big Lots, which is gone now, your dollar stores.
R.I.P. Big Lots.
And actually, honestly, like the cheaper, the better for this, but
You can go to Walgreens and get some physical media. Yeah.
Exactly. So it's where we scrape the bottom of the barrel for physical media that is at a discount in there, usually in some kind of a bargain bin. We randomly pick a film out of that shit and we talk about it. Exercise number 5 is this movie good?
That movie bad.
No other podcast has done anything like this. It's never been done. But one of us proposes a movie that we've seen over the last couple of weeks that we think is really good. The other of us proposes a movie over the last couple of weeks that we've seen that we think is terrible. And we challenge ourselves over the course of a few minutes to find the best reviews for the bad movie and the worst reviews for the good movie.
Yes.
Now this is, okay, earlier I joked, this is suspiciously close to a game that they play on How Did This Get Made, where they look at the best Amazon reviews for the bad movies that they tend to be reviewing. But we're actually going to widen the scope. Why give all the shine to Jeffy Bez?
We can gather reviews from anywhere.
And we will, and we do. So that's this movie good, that movie bad. Hopefully that made sense. And the sixth and final exercise on the wheel is the clip of fools, which is pretty much the same thing that we were doing in season 1.
Yes.
Where we are going to take a weird media oddity, expose ourselves to it, and record our reactions. We did kind of decide after season 1 that it's difficult to have a visual-based segment in an audio-based program. So we've kind of pooled a selection of clips that are kind of easier to decipher what's going on orally. So that should work a little bit better. We're constantly evolving.
For you.
We're constantly growing.
For you.
And we're constantly getting hard.
For you.
So that's Clip of Fools. So how will this age? You can't spell nostalgia without Satan. Or, remember this, mailbag, the bargain bin, this movie good, that movie bad, and Clip of Fools.
I like it.
That'll be our second segment. And then we'll get the fuck out of here. Because you got things to do. We got things to do. With that, let's move in
Our first segment of season 2.
where we confront what's happening in the media. This is a topic that I stumbled across about a week ago when this phenomenon was at its height. There's a film that is on pace to become a global sensation.
Mm-hmm. I haven't even looked at the numbers yet. I'm going to pull that up.
It's funny because when it came out, there was such a reaction, such a backlash to the trailers that I think the assumption was that this was going to tank hard.
Mm-hmm.
We are, of course, talking about the Minecraft movie.
Yes.
And it is on pace for...
Of today, the box office stands at, the global box office stands at 434 million. That's wild.
Do you think that's a good outcome?
I think it just might be.
What was the budget for the old fucking Minecraft movie?
While I look it up, give me a guess.
I'm going to say the budget was about 115 mil.
Just a quick search says 150 mil.
50.
150.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I said 115. I was
So you were close.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess that tracks. It looks like an expensive movie. Does it actually?
No, it kind of looks like trash.
It looks like AI generated crap, I guess, in places. But I suppose that it's not. So you do have to pay for the computer generated imagery that's going to delight and titillate you as you watch it. What is your relationship to the game?
0.
Yes,
I know
here.
of it.
Same
but
here.
I know
and,
nothing about it, or I've never played it.
And you're young enough to have gotten in on the ground floor for Minecraft.
Yeah, because Minecraft was what, 10 years ago? 2009.
16 years ago.
I was in college.
Yeah, well, college is a gamer's age.
Yeah, and I didn't play it.
I
I was still into Halo
I
stuff.
still game now.
I never was a Minecrafter.
From what I understand, it's like just a crafting and resource
Build.
gathering.
Yeah.
With a bunch of little quirks in there. There's like zombies and you fight chickens and things like this. We're not going to review the film because, again, this is not a film that was made for us. Rather, we are here to adjudicate the
sweeping trend.
We essentially want to ask what the limits of audience participation are in lieu of a new trend that this movie has spawned called
Chicken Jockey?
Chicken Jockey. The Chicken Jockey phenomenon.
Again, we have never played the game, but this is apparently a big thing in the game.
The article that kind of got my wheel spinning on this was written for Polygon by Tasha Robinson. This is actually a writer who I admire, and I admire her take on this, so I'm not afraid to out her. This is what she has to say about the phenomenon. She writes for Polygon an article titled "A Minecraft Movie's Chicken Jockey Meme Makes Me Miss Gentle Minions." And I was going to get to the Gentle Minions, but she cut me off at the pass. She says, "Part of the fun of cultural acceleration is that it's now possible to feel nostalgia about things that happened as little as a few months ago. These days, fads and memes and modes of entertainment emerge in our shared zeitgeist like bubbles reaching the surface of boiling soup, and they pop almost as soon as they reach the air." But then she goes on to talk about the Chicken Jockey videos that are currently going viral on TikTok. She says that there's a scene in the Minecraft movie where Steve, played by Jack Black, and Steve, I know Minecraft well enough to know that he's the titular Minecrafter.
Yeah.
And Garrett, played by Jason Momoa, I don't know who Garrett is, are a pair of doofuses from the real world who attempt to grab a quest item in Minecraft's overworld in order to get back home. They get captured by Vindicators, don't know what those are, and tossed into a makeshift boxing ring where Steve is tied into a corner and Garrett is ordered to fight a blocky little chicken. But then the Vindicators drop a baby zombie onto the chicken, and Steve screams "Chicken Jockey" with all the manic energy that Jack Black can muster. Now, do you want to describe what this trend is?
I mean, the trend is basically, so Chicken Jockey apparently, according to this article, is a big thing in this game. But the trend apparently is when this happens, the fans or the audience members just go fucking berserk in the theater and scream Chicken Jockey and throw popcorn and soda and just make it a big ordeal that this is happening.
Clapping, jumping on each other's backs, riding each other around.
Yeah.
Fucking.
I don't know if they're fucking in the AMCs.
Well, I mean, hey, it's the fucking Wild West at AMC, right? You can do whatever you want there. You can fire volleys of sweet man juice all over the place, and nobody's going to clean it up to AMC.
It just seeps into the cushions.
Allegedly. So yeah, there's just all of these different posts that people have submitted.
Which also, stop filming in your fucking theaters.
Well, the thing is, this is viral in a way that I can't understand. This is predicated on TikTok shit. I'm not really like a TikToker. And the thing is, like, if you were hearing this and going, well, fuck you, old man.
Yeah.
Sure. I get it. Granted. But that being said, obviously this was viral before the movie became a thing. So I'm not sure if like people are filming because they know this is coming.
But this strikes me as something that's like remember when Morpheus came out in theaters?
No.
And then
Morpheus.
The Jared Leto Morbius, sorry. Morbin time.
Get your morbs right.
So Morbius came out
straight.
and it was awful, but like the younger crowd sarcastically beefed it up and enjoyed it and like spread it around social media. So Sony was like, well, we'll release it again because it's popular. The younger crowd loves it, but they were doing sarcastically. This trend with Minecraft, it strikes me as something that is like it might start off as sincere, but the reaction is kind of sarcastic where it's like, it's like how people clap when Nicole Kidman shows up in the AMCs.
Do they do that?
Yes, they do that.
I've never seen that. Yeah.
There's a lot of showings that I do where like people hoop and holler when Nicole Kidman shows up, where it's like you're sarcastically clapping for this trend. And this is similar to me. I
mean, I did hear some freak like mouthing along with the words, and like it seemed like they were doing it sincerely in the AMC theater. That's the kind of experience you can expect to have at an AMC.
But I think that this strikes a similar chord where it's not that it's not hitting something that people really enjoy and get excited about with this Minecraft topic, but the reaction is put on. It feels disingenuous to me. Like they're doing it for the trend now.
Yeah, no, I agree. This feels very purple grimace shake ass meme.
But it's a chicken and the egg thing though. It's like, is that reaction born out of this sarcastic reaction to the trend starting, or did the trend start because it was a...
Well, okay. So we're getting ahead of ourselves.
Yes.
I mean, I guess the thing that so the trend is they know at which point this phrase "chicken jockey" is going to be screamed by Jack Black in the film. They prepare for that moment, and when it comes, they're kind of going nuts, and like they're essentially throwing drinks, they're throwing popcorn. Well, so first of all, I gotta say off the bat,
but they're doing it in an unhinged way.
Oh yeah, they're going nuts.
Flailing, yeah,
they're going nuts. So first of all, I can't believe I'm even going to say this because this is like a very out of character thing for me to say.
Wow.
But it takes a lot of privilege to be able to like buy a ticket for a movie, buy popcorn and drinks, and like have the fucking disposable income to be able to do that that fucking age, and literally like be able to afford that and then just fucking waste it, and also by all accounts usually get kicked out of the theater.
Well, also ruin it for everybody else that's in the theater with you.
Well, we haven't even gotten there.
Yeah.
We'll get there because that's really like what this all comes down to. But just like the privilege that you have to be like some little tanner goes like, you know what? It's Friday. I'm bored. I'm a piece of shit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my other broccoli hairs together.
A bunch of Saxon Ratliffs from White Lotus.
A bunch of Hunters and Jacksons and Cadens are getting together and they're fucking, you know what? Let's fucking do this. We're not doing it for the love of the game. We're doing it for the clicks. We're doing it for the eyeballs.
Well, and that's my thing is like, did you not have anything better to do that night? Like they don't. But there's a defense. There is a defense that I will get to for the thing that I just said.
Hold that thought, because here's an interesting way into I think what you're gonna say, because this movie touches upon an older phenomenon called the Gentlemanions. Now this was a phenomenon. I actually witnessed this. It's
you.
Yeah. I didn't see. I've never seen a minion.
I was going to say you didn't go to the theater and see a minion.
But I did witness a cohort of Gentlemanions
going
into a theater.
Okay.
But the Gentlemanions was absolutely chaste compared to this trend. So the Gentlemanions were a bunch of at the time the Lyle Lovett Gen Alpha Perm wasn't in fashion. I think it was maybe like a coif, like a Gen Z coif. They would get dressed up as if they were going to a prom, like tuxedos and like going full to the nines. And they would go and watch the Minion film, and they would kind of do gentle little like golf claps, like to certain jokes and stuff. And they would kind of like do like a very quiet little standing ovation. And honestly, there were, I don't know if there's any kind of like disruptive shit there, but by all accounts, pretty tame.
very subdued nod to the
Right. And, you know,
to the movie.
they're taking it uber seriously. Hey, I'll cut you off a slice.
But
Gen
there was
Z.
but there was instances where
Kinda
those Gentlemanians were kicked out of theaters.
Well, cut to 2025. You know, we now have a generation that realizes they have no future. We're living in a dystopic hellscape of our own making. Fascism is, frankly, like something to be aspired to compared to what we have now. Maybe there's a sense of hopelessness, futility wrapped up in this.
Well, also, nobody goes to the theaters anymore, so it's just like, whatever.
But that's the thing. This movie's doing very well. I don't think it's doing very well because everybody that's going to see it wants to film themselves doing a really poorly conceived meme.
But there's part of it.
But that can't be what's generating $400 million worth of global.
I'd be interested in
box
I would be interested in the repeat viewing numbers whenever those are released.
I think that this is popular because it turns out that video game related content is very
But
popular.
that's not true
when you
because
throw it up on screen.
They do fucking a Doom movie with.
I'm not talking
Dwayne
about
Johnson.
live action. I'm talking about stuff that's geared towards kids, that's CGI fuckfest, which is what this is, which is what Super Mario Bros.
But the audience,
Sonic.
But the audience for Mario Brothers versus the audience for Minecraft is probably drastically different. I would argue, and I haven't seen the numbers, but I would argue that there's a lot more millennials seeing.
There's probably an older audience for Minecraft,
yes.
Although that doesn't quite make sense because Super Mario Brothers is the oldest video game phenomenon
but
there
that's
is.
full animation.
Sure.
And it's more catered to children. It's like if they did a Fortnite.
Well, what
video game.
about the Sonic movie? I mean, where do you put this? Where do you?
I've not seen
What's
any
the
of them.
demo for that? Is that an older demo? Because that's live action and it's like I feel like there's Jim Carrey fans going to see that.
There's Jim Carrey fans. I would say it's a mix.
I take your point in that it's the live action stuff that is played a little bit more seriously probably should on paper draw an older audience.
Well, it's also you have to consider the source of the video game source. So Minecraft is probably more of a teenager game versus Sonic, which is like a child can play that. Same with Mario Brothers.
Minecraft essentially is like a version of Legos. Really, I mean, it's a virtual sandbox to build stuff.
It's like all the roller coaster tycoon mixed with Legos, right?
Yeah, in a sense. Although it's got little quirky things in it, like zombies come out at night, and you know you fight chickens and things like this, which is why this movie is so indecipherable to so many critics because you know they are pretty. It sounds like they are honoring that source material pretty closely, and so there is already an inroad for this to be a movie that's esoteric in a way, and a thing that comes up in the article is you know they talk about the sort of Rocky Horror picturification.
Yeah, and this is what I kind of want to get into.
Yeah, so I think this is what you're starting to allude to earlier.
Yeah, there is in the history of cinema going, especially in the recent past, there is a phenomenon of movies that have attracted late night screenings or just kind of roadhouse style screenings at small venues where there is a lot of audience interaction. There's like Rocky Horror is brought up a lot, and it's brought up in this article of there's scenes where fans throw toilet paper rolls at the screen, or they get up and do the time warp and all that. But
or you know, or like The Room. Like The Room has midnight screenings now, where you know people like a certain painting is on the wall, and like you if you've seen The Room, it makes sense. You know, people will throw plastic spoons at the screen and stuff like that.
But I think the obvious argument with that is that those screenings, you know what you're going into, and they're designated for that.
Well, the midnight screening has been a pop culture phenomenon since about the time of Rocky Horror Picture became a cult icon, and like there's an understanding that A, that shit's gonna happen, but B, also people aren't fucking suplexing each other. Like there's not actual
you're not going to a midnight showing of Rocky Horror to watch the movie. You're going to experience the interaction.
Yeah,
but like,
there's an understanding, unless you're just this random weirdo that lives in the sticks and goes like, well, I'd really like to see Rocky Horror up on the big screen.
People are making a ruckus and I can't watch this picture.
Where can I see it on the big screen? Oh, they've got one in the city at midnight.
I had to watch the movie, but they threw toilet paper everywhere. I couldn't pay attention to it.
They're showing it at midnight. That's usually my time for my stories. Well, that's okay.
When I'm posting on Facebook.
I'll drive to the city to go see it. What's all these people dressed up for? Oh, it's... Okay, they like the movie a little bit more than I do, I suppose. That's fine. I don't know, like some red pill.
Yeah, we went to
like dude from Iowa would go see Rocky Horror Picture, but whatever, he loves it. And then he goes, and then maybe every 1 in 100 people that goes to the midnight screening of Rocky Horror Picture Show or The Room or whatever is surprised, but most people
know what they're getting into. But this article presents a layered kind of dilemma with this, and so it's like, one, if you're going to
discourage audience participation?
No. But if you know what's happening and you're going into it like a Rocky Horror midnight showing, absolutely not. I think this article presents it as how much of this, something like this, is drawing up box office numbers, and if it is a bad or good thing that this, if it is bringing up numbers for this movie, is it good or bad?
Seriously, don't believe that it's enough of a phenomenon. You would have to. I alluded to the purple grimace shake.
Mm-hmm.
How much did McDonald's
make off of that trend?
Off of the virality of it? I'm sure it's not insignificant, but like not enough to keep the grimace shake in stores.
That leads to the whole marketing campaign of anything. I mean, they don't release the McRib year round; they do it in 3-month stints, and so it could be. Like, studios could try and replicate this, and I think the article referenced this of like, do they try and hit some weird trend social media wise to get people into the theater to boost box office numbers?
Well, so I guess
there's a big like snowball effect that could happen with this.
So let's now get into, is there a way that this can work? First of all,
yes,
I think
there is.
I think I probably don't even need to ask you this question. You've already kind of relayed your thoughts, but just generically, is this like a thing that people should be doing in the theater?
When the circumstances are set for it.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm going to say a blanket no. Nobody should be doing this in the theater just for the fucking clicks. Nobody should just be allowed to fucking get away with doing this shit. And they're not just getting away with it either. Like, police are getting called.
Okay, I shouldn't say that they should be allowed to do this, to have this behavior. And so I think that's what you're asking.
I think we're getting confused between two different ideas.
Yes.
Should there be an avenue for this to exist? Yes.
Should this type of reaction where they are throwing shit, becoming unhinged, that reaction, no.
But hang on. Even that, I guess what we're trying to explore here is like, I don't think that like it would be prudent as a theater chain or as a studio to throw away eyeballs on movies in any way.
No.
However they can get it, even if it's just like somebody that's got the worst cauliflower ass haircut on the planet, who's like,
do you just want this hairstyle and you're just jealous?
No, if anything, it's like I'm glad that they have it. It just tells me so much about you before you even open your mouth.
An identifier.
And I'm not trying to pick on everyone that's got the broccoli. At the very least, it sets the expectation level at a certain point, where then I can either be pleasantly surprised or my expectations are in line with where I thought they would be. But I guess the question we want to ask with this article is like, is there a place for this kind of shit at all? What should be the place for like audience participation in general for films? So first of all, like, anyone that has listened to this show ever already knows our fucking stance. So there's at least mine, which is like, I don't even want to hear you breathe, dude. I don't want to hear you fucking, if you sneeze, you should seppuku in the fucking aisle.
But if you went to a midnight showing of a film you like, you would know the expectation.
Yes. So that's the thing. Is there a way for theaters to cater to this shit?
Yes. So for the Minecraft thing, an AMC just has to release a couple midnight showings and call them the fucking chicken jockey screenings.
Right. But this is a child-driven, I mean, mostly children, teenagers and children. 8-year-olds that think that Andrew Tate is a fucking hero and shit, like, are probably the same people that are doing this shit. But they also have a bedtime, and so you can't be doing midnight screenings for 12-year-olds. So what I would say,
well, I don't know what your experience was teenage wise, but like the movies for me was a huge thing every weekend, and like everybody in my middle school or whatever went to the movies every Friday or Saturday.
Yeah, we are old enough, the both of us, where the movies were a big deal. Not all the time.
Not only that, midnight showing. So this is when Harry Potter was coming out, the Pirates movies were coming out, and it was like dressing up and going to
like on a
midnight,
Thursday or yeah.
Well, not even that. Like whenever it was released, dressing up and like going to these movies, and like there was a lot more hooping and hollering during these showings.
Yes, but it was never at the
expense of
somebody's viewing pleasure. So for instance, I'm old enough to have gone to the fucking prequels in high school. Yeah, people had people were like had plastic lightsabers and were like dressing up like fucking Jedi and shit and doing that, quoting shit in the aisles, and like when the fucking 20th Century Fox logo popped up, people were screaming and like it's like a character that you recognize showed up, like there's like a standing ovation. The thing is though, it never got to a point where you couldn't enjoy the fucking movie.
Sure, but my point in bringing this up is, why has that gone away? And why can't movies start to replicate that again?
Because of the way, this is a much larger discussion, but because of the new business model of movies. I mean, only a certain kind of movie is patronized by most young audiences, or even just people with disposable income in general. Even older generations are absolutely not absolved of this. Most people now, faced with the opportunity to watch shit at home, opt for that option. If there's a movie that is screening in theaters, but is going to be streaming on Netflix or Prime or whatever
in 2 months,
in a month or 2 months, they're going to opt for that. And frankly, it's also a bit of franchise creep was way more of a tentpole thing back in the day. So there were properties that were so big that hadn't made their way to screen
like
back
Lord
then.
of the Rings,
Yes.
Pirates of the Caribbean, Twilight was around that time.
There were properties that hadn't, like now virtually every property has been mined to death. I can't think of a property that is so big that it would generate this kind of thing, unless it's like now.
I mean, that's why they're turning to video games.
That's where I was going with that. The only thing left is like all of the most popular literature,
board games and video games.
Everything. I can't think of anything that is so culturally significant that it'll be a tentpole enough.
No, Dune was the last one because it was so hard to fucking do.
And Dune had been done too, So it's like it didn't quite get that reaction because we have some Dunes. They weren't great, but we had them. I mean, and I'm sorry I know that we've got some 1980s David Lynch
R.I.P.
Duners, Dundies, Crocodile Dundies out there. But we can mostly agree that it's not really a very good movie. It's a very imaginative movie, but not very good. But, it had been done. So it's like when the Timothée Chalamet version of Dune came out, yeah, people weren't showing up with blue eye contacts and weird
and worm costumes.
Yeah, doing the worm down the aisles. So I mean, yeah, this is the last frontier of like what's big enough to do this for. But I don't think it needs to be a midnight screening because it needs to be accessible for kids. Even though, yes, there was.
So you do a 9 p.m. screening or a 7 p.m. screening where
you just do a special screening. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be midnight.
But
screening.
then the question is, it's the old trope of. When the studio starts to realize and try to market it, will those people be like, I'm not going to do that now?
Cool
yeah,
probably not. So how do you do it? I guess what you would have to do is have a really sophisticated social media marketing department. I think that this is like a problem with the entertainment industry writ large anyway. That there's really not enough thought given to how to like tap.
Oh, I think that's the opposite. You don't think studios are thinking social media now? They're making a fucking Minecraft
But I don't
movie.
think that. No, it's not that I don't think that they're thinking it. I don't think that they're doing it well.
Well, yeah, I mean that's true. Yeah, because it's a lot of old hat people that have been in the position and they're now being tasked with relating to a younger audience.
I don't think
it's the tale as old as time.
I don't think that oh man, I thought that was.
What were you trying to do?
I was trying to throw my ice in the plant. It's water. You can
now my dog's drinking the whiskey soaked
ice. Gonna be super blitzed. Anyway, so I think they do a bad job. Yeah, I think that like the 70-year-old vest wearing executive is the last person you should be asking.
No, he's doing a pretty good job. He got a raise.
Great. Well, no, that's true. That's true. Well, but we discussed that. That's a miracle. Well, man, she's so fucked up.
Yeah, she's.
See, it's not as easy as it looks.
All right, the plant's now drunk.
Yeah. Fucking Shaq doing free throws over here. All right.
I just want money.
I just want
to get money.
Chicken zombie.
Chicken jockey. I love chicken jockey.
I take your point. I think that there should be a lane for this to happen, but then it would probably not be cool. So honestly, there needs to be a way for the studios and the theater chains just need to throw maybe like a handful of extra shekels towards some really good online media management and find a way to like memify it in a way that steers people away from turning the first few rows in any given theater into a splash zone.
Yeah.
I will say this. If I was in a theater, I don't care how fucking old you are.
I was gonna say,
if your shit-eating Diet Shasta orange ends up in my fucking shirt, I'm going to hurt you.
I was gonna ask you how you would respond to this, but then I remembered you're never gonna see Minecraft in theaters.
Listen, we're in a lawless world now. Laws don't mean anything. There's no rules for anything. In fact, frankly, I can deport you if you do this, and I will. Doesn't matter who you are or what you are, and I will. If you fucking pour your
RC Cola.
Oh man, if only. No, if anything, it's probably like a cherry Mountain Blast Mountain Dew, an Arctic Baja
So that
Mountain
shit's
Dew.
not cheap. You're buying all that
I
shit
know,
to
that's
just
what I'm
throw
saying.
it away.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's
Box
real.
of popcorn is like $9.
It's a real position of privilege to be able to get away with this kind of shit. But listen, I mean, they're already starting to call the cops. I'm sure that, like, the theaters have already like upped their security on every goddamn viewing of this shit.
Yeah.
The thing is, though, it just shouldn't have to come to that. Do less cringy shit in the theater. How about that? Like do something creative in there. Like, yeah,
Or just watch the movie.
If you just want
That's my thing. Is like we're getting into a deeper psychology of these people because it's like you're spending money for the ticket, you're spending money on the food and drink. You're spending your time to watch this thing up until this line, and then you're making a fucking mess.
The thing is, I don't care if you want to break stuff or if you want to make life harder for like big companies, big chains. I'm actually kind of all for that. We're in the end times. Let's make it harder for the oligarchs. The thing is, don't make it hard for like some poor soccer mom, you know, like a special ed teacher who just lost her funding because like it's like illegal to acknowledge that specially abled people exist. That's just trying to have a fucking Friday with her 5-year-old.
Watching Jack Black.
She doesn't want to be there. She's doing it for her fucking kid, all right?
Watching Jack Black's weird beer color.
Yeah, she had this mistake 7 years ago. It's now old enough to talk. It needs something to do on a Friday night. She brings it. It's enjoying the thing. She's just happy that it's not talking to her for 5 seconds. And then then a red icy comes flying across the theater, hits her fucking mistake in the fucking eyeball, and then now she's got to get up, deal with that. Like, she's got to go to work the next day, dude.
Yeah, you're gonna sleep in until like 1 p.m.
I guess maybe that's what this all really comes down to, is because, and I mentioned it earlier, and it really is out of character for me to say it, but like the privilege of being able to do this, man. And again, this is a phrase that I don't really like, but check your fucking privilege, dude. Don't do that shit in a fucking theater that could just have people that are looking for a fucking inexpensive way to enjoy a fucking night with their kids. Do it at go burn down a fucking this will get me sent to a gulag. Go burn down a car manufacturer, not any big one that we know, but just like burn down any old. Go throw Molotovs at an electric car manufacturer. You know, like
any of them.
I'm not gonna say which one.
No,
but just go.
You decide which one,
and you can do that, and it's great. And you know,
you'll feel something.
Yes, it's a little bit more dangerous because again, you can get sent to Guantanamo for doing that, but you will be contributing at least. And I thought the Gentle Minions thing was silly, and that was a TikTok,
but it was
thing.
Innocent.
But it was mostly innocent. There were some Gentle Minions that like kind of trash theaters and shit. For the most part, like if you're just like wearing suits and doing little golf claps and like film yourself doing that, great, fine. I hate that you're fucking bringing a phone to the theater. But, like we're beyond the pale of like people behaving like actual human beings anymore. So it's like there's just no way to enjoy a theater experience. I don't know.
We're kind of at a fork in the road with movie going. I think there's a real struggle of studios that want to get people in the seats, obviously, but you can't just allow people to act however they want just because you want that number and you want that money. And I think
we have to find an outlet. We have to find a release valve for this kind of shit.
You can't allow the movies just to be a playground because you want people to pay for a ticket. You have to have some level of respect for it.
But you also can't ignore. You can't afford. You can't ignore the social media trend because you do that at your own peril.
But it's
you
a
also
trend
can't
that's
feed it.
No, you can't just allow it. Like you need to have some parameters of what is okay and not okay. And just because it's a trend that you think might turn into numbers doesn't mean it's okay, and it doesn't mean you don't have a responsibility to shut it down.
It's just like a symptom of like the weird nihilism of. I honestly do believe that like younger people realize just how fucked they are. and how much like the world absolutely has fucked them and betrayed them as people. And like,
maybe we don't understand that because we're not in that position.
Exactly. We'll be dead soon. We'll be dead sooner. And we will have had at least semi-normal life by the time the fucking gulags are like literally putting people in mass pits. But they won't. They're never going to get to have a normal life. So I guess I don't know what that's like. So I don't know what it's like to act out.
So if throwing popcorn at the screen where Jack Black screams chicken jockey is where they what they need to do.
I feel like that maybe like there needs to be like a concentrated effort by the studios to like, I don't know, cajole the shittiest influencers to like find some kind of an alternative outlet. Maybe they just need like a big bounce house Coachella or whatever. Because like there's clearly like some kind of element of trying to be viral while blowing steam thing behind all this. It's just the theaters can never be the place for it.
No.
And honestly, we haven't even talked about like the class delineations of this whole issue. Again, we talked about like the mom who's like
working class.
Like, but it's like the people that work at that theater, dude.
Yeah, man.
You just fucked up their night. Maybe they're weak. There's other ways to break shit. I guess maybe that's the lesson I want.
But it's like where my thing is, would you ever do that anywhere? And like, why is it okay just to do that there? Like,
go spray paint a building. Like,
but that's even not okay. Like,
I know it's not, but it's more harmless because listen, at the end of the day, direct it in the right place. You know, like
would you do that at a sports venue? Those people probably wouldn't. But because it's a dark room where there's
sports venues are surrounded. I mean, you're surrounded by maniacs that will
but you're still not.
Kill you.
But for the most part, everyone knows not to throw shit at other people.
I do think maybe that's we're beyond the pale of actual just like civil discord. Like maybe like people like literally just don't know how to not run with scissors anymore. I don't know.
Well, I mean, now we're getting into real deep.
Right, exactly.
Here,
we can't diagnose that. No. I guess what I would say is this certainly is not going to be the last viral trend that like people do stupid shit in theaters to like appease some insignificant number of eyeballs on your content. At the very least, find a way to make a still cool like setting for people to go do that. I don't know if it's possible. That's probably not the way the virology
works. It's not as fun
works.
for those people to disrupt something that is for disrupting.
Honestly, I'm not enough of a fucking narc to be like, oh well, then like punish these people as hard as the law. You know, like I don't.
No, just kick them out.
But it's like, yeah, maybe just don't. Like maybe, you know.
Well, that's the other thing is like the theater needs to
maybe like clamp down on their
clamp down on it.
Yeah, like don't allow that email address to buy tickets online anymore or whatever. Like, yeah, I don't know. Maybe teach your dumb Lyle Lovett hair freak not to be a little asshole. And look, kids always need an outlet to like break shit and burn shit and act out. But like
the theater's not that.
Get back into backyard wrestling. You know, like whatever. Get your kids into combat sports with swords. You know, like that's great.
Yeah, have them take each other out.
Yeah, just do a big cage match with all your little tuckers, and it'll be great. I don't know. I feel like we haven't quite addressed this in the way that I thought we might, but it's more of a deep dive on the psychology of children, which I'm not qualified to do, and don't have any.
We are definitely not.
Do not care. But yeah, listen, Hunter, I know that you're listening to this.
Hunters.
If your blue Arctic icy comes with even with a splash zone millimeters away from me, you will be put down. Okay, and I know that it's discouraged for a person my age to do a violence, as they would say, to
you'll do it.
I'm going to put you down.
And with that threat, we will move on.
Look for a guy that looks like he works at the docks and has extreme sadness in his eyes.
Crab catcher.
And when you see that man, just remember, if your Baja Blast comes anywhere close to that person, I'm going to fucking drown you in my shrimp boat. Okay? It's time to move on. And I'm excited because we get to spin fucking wheel for the first time.
No, it's real.
We get to spin the fucking reel for the first time.
Sometimes life gets boring. I was stressed down in a ditch. I needed the creative outlet, something to scratch that itch. I was laying down in the mines, didn't know I'd be so bewitched. Found a glowing cube, oh, what's this do? With an everything glitched. Bright blue skies, green grass, wildlife, buzzing bees, deep sea, sing.
I'm sorry, Satan. I haven't acknowledged you today. And I didn't give you my daily tithings. Yeah, so this is the first time we get to spin the wheel. We already explained how it works. We're going to give it a shot. What am I supposed to do there? Oh, you're the reel. Oh, jeez. So you sound a lot like Disney Bot and Oscar Bot and all the other bots that we've had on the show. So, sorry. Jesus Christ, it's really disturbing. Okay, well, I guess it's time to spin. So again, we have 6 categories that we're going to spin for. Let's see how it goes. Okay. The wheel really likes that. Oh, okay. This movie good. That movie bad. Okay. Well, this is our first time. Well, so just to remind people how this particular exercise works, this is a game where we're going to give each other a good movie that we've seen and a bad movie that we've seen, and we're going to take a few minutes break here to kind of look for the inverse of those experiences and anywhere where reviews are left. So this being our first one, I want to throw out a good movie.
Wow.
You know, I'm such a bastion of negativity. So I want to promote something nice. So I'm going to throw out the good movie, and then can you think of a bad movie?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. That you've watched recently?
Yes.
Okay. I was quite taken with the film Sing Sing. Saw that recently. Thought it was quite moving. Everything that most people are saying about it is great. Coleman Domingo is really at the top of his game. All of that is true. It exceeded my expectations. So I'm going to say that film. Saw it recently, Sing Sing.
All right. I have not seen it, but I've heard good things.
That's my good film. So when we take our break here, you're going to go look for the worst reviews that you can find about that film.
Yes.
Okay. It's harder, I feel, to ask somebody to come up with a bad movie, but it sounds like you've got one right on.
But it's easy when you've gone on vacation, and I think we've talked about this.
When you've gone on vacation?
Because you're in a hotel, and all you can watch on hotel TVs is awful movies.
Right.
And
TBS.
it's usually the same movies that pop up. And so when I was recently on vacation, Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull popped up. And as you rest between doing things on vacation, you tend to watch hotel TV.
Whoa.
And so I watched the movie. Again, and it was bad.
I mean, listen. I'm not going to deny that Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull
correct.
It's not a slam dunk.
No.
I can't.
It's an airball.
I can't in good faith call it a good film.
No.
So it's fine for you to submit it. That being said, I do have a little bit of a soft spot for it.
Why, just because it's an indie film?
I think it's well made when it's well made.
So the actual filming technique of it.
Yes,
like the
I
art
think that
of
it's well put together.
Sure, it's Spielberg. Of course it is. But that doesn't mean it's a good movie.
No, I know. I do have a sort of a soft spot for it. I think it's campy in all the ways that Indiana Jones needs to be campy, and I honestly think that look, I love Indiana Jones.
Indy, I love you.
And I'm a bit of an apologist, so I'm not going to let that get in the way of my saying that it's not really a quality film. That being said, I do have a little bit of a soft spot for it, and there are things that people criticize it for, which I don't think it deserves to be criticized for. Because
you like the swinging monkey scene?
No, it's just like there's things like people like pick on like the nuclear refrigeration blast stuff, and to me that's no different than
No more parachute.
And they literally drop out of the plane in a raft for like a kilometer down the ground.
There's some suspension of belief with those movies.
So I do think that part of what eats people up is the CGI, and so I guess I'm prefacing all this with that to say that I'm going to try to keep all that at bay when I'm looking at these reviews, and look for actual glowing reviews that aren't mentioning things that I think are actually it's doing well.
Yeah, like if somebody loved the CGI.
Right.
love this Shia
you know
LaBeouf
what? Hey,
character.
well, we're going to take our break right now. We've agreed to take 15 minutes, I think, to do this. So we're going to hit pause on the recording, and we'll be right back in due course. Okay, we're back. Well, I found some special reviews.
Oh, I've got some.
From a variety of different sources. I looked at Letterboxd. I looked at IMDb, and because we're not trying to punch down the show. We won't name names, but these are all 5-star reviews that I found for Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. But let's start with you. You were tasked with finding some 1-star or lower reviews for Sing Sing.
Yes.
On any given platform. Lay some on me, and we'll talk about them.
All right, so I have a really, really long one. The rest are pretty short or shorter. Do you want the longest one first or the longest one?
I want the one that touched you the most last. So let's go the throwaways first, and then the one that really.
All right, I'm gonna go for the one-liners first, and then you can ping off that. I've not seen the movie. I've heard good things. I do want to see the movie.
That's
just
fine.
prefacing that.
That's fine. Sometimes that'll happen.
All right, this person gives it 1 star and says that SNL skit about high school theater.
I don't know the skit. What's the skit?
They're saying that the quality is an SNL skit, basically. I think that's what they're getting at.
Okay, hang on a minute. Okay, well, so first of all, I should explain for people who haven't seen the film. It's a film about people in prison who are given the chance to do to prepare and present a play. And it's usually a play that they write. It's not something that already exists. Writing a play, producing it, and then presenting it for the rest of the prison. So my problem with that review is I don't know whether they're talking about the play they literally
it's a meta
produce in the fucking movie, or if they're talking about the movie in general. So
I think they're talking about the movie in general. But okay so this one is 1 star as well and says, I'd rather watch Klay Thompson pull up to San Quentin prison and play pickup basketball with death row inmates.
Wow. I don't know if that's a slam on Klay Thompson or if it's a slam on San Quentin. Yeah. Okay. That's a head scratcher. I don't know where your mind's at.
Okay.
Friend.
This one goes into a little bit about the movie. Okay. The kind of film you'd expect to find after midnight in public TV. The film is full of cliches, playing characters, and it lasts 2 hours but felt longer than The Brutalist. Girl sat in front of me at the cinema, was using her cell phone during half the film, entered to Letterboxd and rate the film 4 stars. Like, seriously?
Okay, well, first of all, you can't blame the film for having a bad experience at the theater.
No, agree.
Yeah, somebody relentlessly mocked a disabled person at my screening of The Green Knight, which was really upsetting. But I still thought The Green Knight was pretty great. So,
what about the sense of them saying the film is full of cliches, playing characters, and predictability?
Well, that's ridiculous because, first of all, it's a film about people who are uneducated in the art of storytelling, trying to put on a show. And so, yeah, I mean, those are people that are not going to be sophisticated storytellers. I mean, it literally, it's like a movie about how people just need any kind of outlet towards humanity. So it's like the idea that you would pick on it for having a scene where somebody goes, "Hey man, you're going to get through this," or whatever. It's like, yeah, that's probably just a universal truth about being in prison. I don't know. I reject your premise, sir. I reject your premise and your beliefs.
This person says, I think a life sentence inside Sing Sing itself would be shorter and more entertaining than this drivel. Whoever wrote this synopsis for the film sold this deliberately as a completely different storyline because it's the only way you could get people to fill up the screen.
I think I kind of see what's happening here. I bet that these are a lot of Blue Lives Matter kind of people.
I was going to say, I got a real long one about that.
Yeah, I bet there's a lot of people these people don't deserve no humanity. They stole a deodorant. That was the last speed stick.
And I tried to avoid it because I could guess that this was going to be.
No. But this does seem like this is all of this seems a little bit coded towards what do I care about these fucking slurs trying to present an art? What does that don't tell me nothing about getting my hash browns more cheaply? I can't say that for sure. This just feels coded with all I care about my eggs being cheaper, that kind of shit.
Well, I'm gonna sling you the most unhinged one.
Sling it.
I'm gonna sling it for the last one here.
And this is a long one.
Yes.
Okay.
It's 1.5 stars. it reads, NPR ass movie about Kauai Max security inmates learning to unravel their toxic masculinity and stop saying the N-word by doing Shakespeare in the park group therapy. Actual line in parentheses. My slings and arrows on the inside. Cool that this is based on the real program that I assume does genuine good for society and features a bunch of non-professional actors playing themselves. But as presented on the screen, it's just infantilizing and embarrassing, with Greg Queter, parentheses, white guy, shooting a leftover 90s Oscar bait script like he wants to be Barry Jenkins, while the composer of Come On, parentheses, white guy, thrums sad cellos on the soundtrack. It avoids engaging even mildly tough questions about the prison system by making Coleman Domingo's respectable, well-spoken protagonist clearly innocent of the crimes he's incarcerated for, and immediately following his clemency hearing, the only legitimately good scene, with the revelation that his hood frenemy got clemency successfully, so it's not like there's some kind of institutional bias going on. No, sir. This is a nothing burger with an unmistakable air of patronizing white liberal racism. And why the fuck would you keep the real-time inmate play featuring time travel, Freddy Krueger and Hamlet monologues 99% off-screen? Ugh.
Wow, you really dropped a trunk for me to unload there. I mean, like, I can't address that beat by beat. We could literally make a podcast out of that alone. But man, yeah, I'm gonna throw him a bone right off the bat. It is definitely an NPR ass movie. That being said, that's not always a bad thing. And in this case, you seem like you're confronting your own weird hangups about race, dude. Hey, like, it seems like they're offended that the film is presenting a potential outlet where the main protagonist could be innocent. Well, but then you're also mad that a white guy wrote it.
Made it, yeah.
So, I mean, are you trying to suggest that this movie's too woke? Because if that's the case, like, it seems like it's not really interested in social justice at all. In fact, the only thing that is being social justice-y about is, like, maybe we shouldn't treat human beings like utter filth just because they're in jail. Like, or maybe that there should be some outlet to rehabilitate people if you're going to send them to a place that you call a rehabilitation center. You know, like, it seems like that's the wokest thing I can say about it. And if you're attacking it for not being woke enough by saying, like, it's like token black character or like somehow whitewashing the realities of prison, it's definitely not doing that because a lot of characters that you come to be endeared by do not have great time. It's not like softballing the experience of prison in any way. In fact, there's definitely some scenes that are a little bit harder to watch and stomach if you connect these characters at all. I don't know. Maybe this person was on Molly while they were watching this. Like,
I also don't know what this person expected to see. Like, I haven't seen the movie, but I can probably guess what the movie's going to be about.
This person opens their critique by like criticizing some of like the ham-fisted dialogue that they write for their play, because they are writing their own play. Mm-hmm. But then later goes on to say, we didn't get enough of the play. It's like, well, wait, you do want to hear more of that shit? Yeah. Like, you just complained about how contrived it is. Yeah, I mean, this is just like a person who's just having a day.
I wonder if I can see the time that they left it. No, it's only the day.
Yeah,
that'd be a great feature if they let the reader see at what time of day the person wrote the review.
Yeah, you should be able to submit how many drinks deep you are,
yes,
like when you submit.
But even if this person left at like 4 a.m., I'd be like, okay, that explains it.
Sure. Or maybe like they have like a job cleaning up toilets or something, and they had like a severe spray that day, and like just were in a bad mood when they went to the theater, and then
took it out on Sing Sing.
Yeah, to like espouse their weird NPR feelings on this, like, I would say, emotionally impactful movie that's really just trying to make the point that you shouldn't treat everybody that's got into trouble once like they're a fucking slave. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know. That's kind of what I got from the film. So. But if that's a triggering sentiment, I understand, sir. No more Sing Sing for you. Wow. Well, that was a special one. Okay.
Well, now we'll cleanse the palate with some positive views.
I don't know if I have anything as unhinged as that. But so I found most of these on Letterboxd. I found that a lot of the people that post on IMDb tend to be so analytical, as if they're writing a term paper for a film.
Yeah, that's why I go to Letterboxd. It's a bit more unhinged.
Well, it's just like that. More people believe that it's a film blog that everyone is reading, where it's like, where in reality no one is looking at your Letterboxd. It's like it's your
except
own,
for us.
Sure, yeah. Well, now you have an audience. And it's Indiana Jones, so there's a billion reviews.
Yes.
So this was hard to try to wade through in the time that we set aside for ourselves to do it. That being said, I found some special ones, I think. So these are here's one from Letterboxd. It says, IDK, I don't know why this movie gets so much shit. One of my fave indie adventures. It says that with
I was going to say, are you all capsing?
should I tell you how many explanations? I will.
Yes.
One of my fave indie adventures.
That's at least 5.
That's 1, 2, 3, 4. The Russians, the Russians, mutt, crying face emoji. Marion Return, Oaksley. There's no one named Oaksley in the film. The Skull, Francisco de Orellana.
Just excited about the skull.
Okay, I have to start this again. I don't know why this movie gets so much shit. One of my fave Indian adventures. The Russians, Mutt, Marion Return, Oaksley, The Skull, Francisco de Orellana, Area 51, Elvis, The Bar Fight, The Library Scene. You're a teacher? Question mark. Part-time. Sly face emoji. The Ants. Love My Family.
He signed it off, Love My Family?
Yep.
Like, Love My Family wrote this, or I just
don't
love
know.
my
I
family?
thought maybe we could talk
Is
about
there
that.
a love and then comma?
Nope.
Okay, so
I don't know why this movie gets so much shit. One of my favorite indie adventures. The Russians, Mutt, Marion Return, Oaksley, The Skull, Francisco de Orellana. Don't know who that is. Area 51, Elvis, not in the movie, maybe an Elvis song. The Bar Fight, The Library Scene, so good. You're a teacher, part-time. The Ants, Love My Family. 5 stars. 5 stars.
Love My Family.
Yeah, I mean, like, were you having an episode? Were you having a manic episode? Okay, like maybe it's like in The Accountant where he has to like hit himself with a weird wooden
He
rod.
has to say Love My Family to sign off.
Love my family. Love my family.
He says that in every email he sends. Love My
I
Family.
love my family. Okay.
So I can't even begin to
No,
unpack
there's
this.
nothing. There's nothing to say.
I think
about
this
that.
person just randomly
We don't have to
tossed out
adjudicate.
stuff. Like nobody cared that Marion came back. Mutt is whatever.
Yeah, there's nobody named Oaksley.
The ants suck. I don't know
They
where
got
Elvis
excited
is.
about The Skull.
What about the skull? The looks.
Just it's on their list of things to like.
Listen, he loves his family or her family.
They love their family.
Yes,
and that's all that's important. Let's move on.
What a beginning.
It's a real ride. Oh, it's just going to get weirder from here. I love this movie so much. The first indie film I ever saw, actually, and remember going to see with Brandon DeRouche and his mom.
Who?
Don't know.
We don't know who that is.
Let's come back to that. I love this movie so much. The first indie film I ever saw and actually remember going to see with Brandon DeRouche and his mom. Movie is just as good now as it was then. The movie is on an epic level of ridiculousness, but it doesn't detect for me at all. Shia was a great addition, and Harrison Ford as Indy is really one of my all-time favorite characters. Is there a different person that's played Indy? The start of the film is great and a bit shocking. Imagine having to dodge the KGB, giant ants, and aliens all in one day. Love this film.
I don't think it takes place in one day.
So I'm pretty sure it takes place over the course of like a month or so.
Yeah. What, he thinks he traveled from like the U.S. to South America in a day?
Maybe.
And did all that?
I'm more hung up on why hanging out with Brandon DeRouche and his mom elevated this to 5-star experience.
Can you see how many people liked this post?
You know, I don't have it linked to. I should have copied a link to the review. I just have the text here.
Because I want to know if other people know who this Brandon.
Can you do that on Letterboxd?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, shit. Hey, we're learning here. This is the first time we've done this segment, so we'll learn more. Here are a few more. One review simply said Russians, 5-star. Another review simply said ants, 5 stars.
No.
Another review, George Lucas. Oh, this one is wild. George Lucas is a time-traveling 5-star chef who cooks meals from the future.
God.
Literally just remove any alien references until the end of Act 3 and you've got a really great movie.
So the whole movie premise?
So basically don't reveal that there are aliens in it until the credits? Most of the criticisms don't hold up because George Lucas sees all realities. Shia is great. Updating Indiana Jones for 1950s serials is inspired. Nuketown is wild, but it works. His Achilles heel will always be adding cute little guys to the shots. Monkeys, prairie animals, etc. 5 stars.
George Lucas didn't direct this.
No, he did have a producing hand in it. A heavy producing hand. That's probably part of what's wrong with it. Literally.
I mean, but he produced all the indies.
Yes. I don't know. Was he involved in 5?
Yeah.
As well? Dial?
I don't know about 5.
But my favorite part is literally just remove any alien references until the end of Act 3. So at
just
the
remove
end,
the whole thing.
So just go, surprise!
Aliens! Credits.
Woo!
Wow.
Yeah, so that's special. Here's another one. That's, I promise, this was the review. We won't ever forget these last few days. 5 stars.
Is that a line in the movie?
Nope.
Indy, I love you.
We won't ever forget these last few days. I want to make sure. I want to do like a wellness check for this person.
Yeah.
Okay. Just a few more. This is a fun one. This might be someone we know. Hello, readers. It's T-Dog. Crystal Skull, more like Golden Movie. Clears Raiders. Puts Crusade to shame. Barely jumps Temple of Doom. Harrison old, but red sad face emoji. If you only get to watch one movie by Spielberg, pick this.
Really?
Signed, T-Dog, 5 stars.
Wow. Can you imagine introducing somebody to Spielberg and giving them this film first?
Hey, listen, I know you have a wide berth to pick from. Gonna have to go with Kingdom of the Crystal Skulls.
Yeah.
Gonna have to do it.
Gotta watch that one. And then 1941 right after that.
I mean, yeah, if you really want to see his writing at the top of his game, editing at the top of his game, it's just pure imagination.
Crystal Skull. Skull it.
I'm gonna have to skull it up.
5 stars.
5 stars.
I love my family.
Just one or two more. Love the fridge. Oh, this is from IMDb. Love the fridge so much. Monkeys should have been Nazis as a callback.
What?
Loved the end when the Holy Spirit busts the doors down and blows Indy's hats towards him. Love that they got married.
That was the Holy Spirit.
Oh, it gets better. Love that they got married. #Christian. Nothing else to comment on X.
There's a lot to say about that, but the monkeys being Nazis as a callback is insane.
It wasn't when the Holy Spirit busts the doors down at the end.
I mean, that's insane too.
#Christian. Love that they got married. Loves it. Love that they got married. Now they can jizz all over each other. The Loud says that's the only way you get to fire your noise at one another.
God.
I didn't write the review. Okay, this is the last one.
Yeah, give me
it's
a last.
It's a bit of a longer one.
Perfect.
But that's fine. George and Steven go Astro Brain and make the best movie ever made. This is from Amazon, by the way. From Second One, just the best movie ever made.
Second One, the logo animation?
Second One. Movie literally starts with immediate American graffiti, I guess. Lightning goes beyond hard. Lighting, I think, is what they meant to say. Lighting goes beyond hard.
Not
What does
really.
that even mean? Might be my favorite lighting in a movie.
Really?
Okay, well, so they really like high-key shit. Fine.
Yeah.
Gramps is back on his bullshit, and then they fall down into Resident Evil and get shot out on a rocket, and then he survives a nuke. Okay, I'm just going to let that one stand as it is. Love the parallel to Crusade when Harrison looks disapprovingly at Shy on the bike. So actually, some of the positive reviews that weren't like unhinged did reference that this is kind of like a
Homage to
changing of the
Crusades.
guard of Harrison Ford assuming the Sean Connery role, which is a low-hanging fruit interpretation on the movie that I actually hadn't considered. It doesn't make the movie any better for me, but I can appreciate that inversion. I'm not going to come at you for that. But Kate comes in as the best antagonist of the franchise. The best, okay? Shia has the best panic face in the business. Don't know what that means.
Yep.
Shia just drops the fact that he's done fencing in my favorite foreshadowing throwaway line, and then he fences Cate Blanchett with rapiers while standing on cars, several.
With rape ears?
Rapiers. It's a kind of sword. In the best action sequence of the franchise. And then he legitimately fucking swings across the jungle with monkeys. He legitimately does it? I'm pretty sure he doesn't really do it.
He doesn't illegitimately do it?
I'm pretty sure it was illegitimate. I don't think he actually did it. I'm going to go out on a limb. Kate is so sexy in this. I just love the way this movie looks.
That's the bowl
Fantastical,
cut.
but tangible in the best way. It's the best looking movie. No movie has ever looked like this before. That's true. And never has since. Also true. I'll give you that. And there are some close calls. What are they? Spacemen? Interdimensional beings, in point of fact. Expanding the matinee serial feel to incorporate B-movie sci-fi insanity was such a fucking brain moment. This feels like one of those stories you'd read in a tie-in comic book or play or tie-in video game, but then go, yeah, but it's obviously not canon because the movies would never do this. But then Steve and George are just crazy enough to actually do it. 5 stars. I mean, none of the things you're saying are wrong, friend. They're literally pointing things out that are true about the film, but that might objectively, in some cases, knock points off of it. And also,
Chekhov's fencing. Like
Sure. I mean, it's not like a fantastically dumb person wrote this, but a fantastically confused person wrote it.
Yes.
Maybe the most confused.
Love my family.
Love my family. Man, yeah. I guess that's where we should leave
Do
it.
any of the reviews that I read make you think about the movie in a different way?
No. Even that last guy who's really trying his damnedest. Other than I will agree that it is an NPR-ass movie. That being said, it's also a good movie. Like that's the thing of like all those reviews don't touch on what the film's actually about. So it's like,
Yeah.
that's the thing. I'll ask the same question of you. Have any of these changed you in your opinion of
Absolutely not.
Kingdom of the Crystal Balls? Now, again, I gotta have a soft spot for the film.
Listen, I'll watch it if I'm in a hotel like I did before, and if it's on.
Yeah, but I've seen you watch Fantastic
No, you saw
For
us watch Fantastic Four.
Rise of the Silver Surfer.
You watched it just as much as I did.
watched you watching it. It's more like it. No, I can't pretend I wasn't captivated by the Mr. Fantastic.
Yeah, I'm not gonna throw. I'm not gonna throw on Crystal Balls anytime soon.
Well, see, that's where you and I differ. I put it on deliberately, like a little while ago. So
Why?
that's why it's so fresh in my mind. Because I saw somebody alluding to it, and I just realized I hadn't seen it in like 10 years.
Did it change? Did your view change? I mean, you still had the same nostalgia, I'm sure, but like,
I think it's actually a strong film until they get. Hang on, Jesus Christ! I think it's actually a pretty strong film until they get to South America, which is a majority of the film.
yeah, I was gonna say that's like a quarter of the film in.
But I do think that somebody mentioned it in one of these unhinged reviews, but I actually do think that the first 30 minutes are pretty strong, and I think it is well put together. That being said, it's the most like Disney ride-esque of all of them, which is saying something because Disney actually made one.
Yeah.
It's also just tonally the weirdest one. It's a tonally nonsensical film. And again, I'm an indie apologist. But I still think that there's enough to like in the film that it's like not completely disposable, but it's just so zany and silly towards the end of it that it's just really hard to get behind it. And the CGI is bad, but I don't think necessarily in the way that people harp on it for. I think that there's like bad matte work happening that doesn't need to be there. I guess my biggest problem with it is like that, and it was my problem. A big problem I had with Dial of Destiny is like they just decided that they didn't have to shoot in real places anymore. Yeah, it's too much. There's a reason that they fucking spoiler alert for the Dial of Destiny. There's a reason that they gleefully kill off Shia LaBeouf's character off screen. It's literally like that Simpsons meme where it's like, I have to go. My planet needs me. And then they like rip Poochie off of the screen. That should speak to this film's quality. All right. Well, I think we've done enough harm.
We did it. We kicked it off.
This is a longer episode, but we had a lot to explain. Please reach back out to us. We're back. We'll try to do as much of a social media push as we can before we are hauled off to the gulags. In the meantime, you can still reach out to us at castagainsttype@gmail.com. Cast Against Type on all the social media platforms that are relevant, except for TikTok because of the Rizzler. We're going to find a way to work on that. Also, subscribe to the show, and please like it if you're going to subscribe to it.
Spotify, Amazon, Apple.
Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon. You said all those. YouTube, BrewTube. Check us out on SoundCloud if you just want to grab our RSS feed and plug it into whatever program you use to get your programs.
I just got one more thing to say.
Yeah.
Love my fam.
Love my family.
Farewell, everyone. Goodbye, sweet prince.
Indy, I love you.